Good morning everyone. The aim of this video is to give you a very brief overview of AQA English Language Paper 1 Question 4. Paper 1 is a 1 hour and 45 minute exam paper. It's out of 80 marks, and you're given one fiction source to read with 5 questions to complete. The best order to complete this paper in is in this order. Question 5 first, then question 1, 4, 2 and finally 3. The reason for this is that you get all of the big mark questions and the easy question out of the way first. That way you've got 80% of the paper completed in the first 3 questions that you answer. A question 4 looks something like this. It directs you to a certain part of the text. Sometimes that could be the entire text. Sometimes it could be a specific set of lines. On question 4, the question will give you a statement, and it will ask you something along the lines of, to what extent do you agree? Now, you can disagree with the statement, sure, but it's written so that there will be loads to write about if you agreed with the statement. So in this example, it's asking how much we agree with the statement that the writer makes Sherlock Holmes out to be a misunderstood genius. It's worth 20 marks, which is 25% of the whole exam paper. Now, because this question is worth the same amount as question 1, 2 and 3 put together, make sure that you give it plenty of time. I'd recommend that you spend 6 minutes preparing and planning the answer and 22 minutes writing the response, and you should be aiming to write 2 to 3 paragraphs in that time. So in order to get the marks, you need to do 4 things. You need to focus your entire response on the statement in the question. Everything that you write must be a clear response to the statement in the question. Do you agree with it or not, and why? Using this example question, everything that I write would be about whether Holmes is in fact a misunderstood genius, and what the writer has done to ensure that this fact is clear to me, the reader. Next, same as the other questions, you need to use a range of quotations from the given lines. Go with a bare minimum of 3 quotations per paragraph. For question 4, you could discuss language devices or structural devices. It's all fair game for question 4. Explore them in detail. Look at multiple interpretations, connotations. The clearer and more detailed you can present your ideas and theories, the more marks are available. So find the devices used and explore their effects. And finally, on question 4, lots of marks available for the effect on the reader. Remember, the question asks you, to what extent do you agree? Now you are the reader, so there are plenty of marks available there. So this is how I would recommend structuring your answer. There are more marks available on this one than in question 2 and 3, so we need to be writing paragraphs that are more detailed than fear. So for question 4, we use PEDAL. And PEDAL stands for point, evidence, explain, analyze, develop, and link. Now what this means is you make your point about the statement in the question. Do you agree with it or not, and why? So in the example from the previous slide, this sentence would go something like, I agree that Doyle has successfully presented Holmes as a misunderstood genius because the writer uses a semantic field of science to indicate Holmes's advanced education. Next is your evidence. This is your first quotation in the paragraph. Explain is where you link the quotation that you have picked to the statement in the question. How does it prove your stance on the statement? Are there any language or structural devices in there? Can you analyze any part of it? Above all, can you explain how it is relevant to the statement in the question? Next, you zoom in onto one small part and analyze it. Now this could be an individual word, a language device, a structural device, something small. The idea here is that you take something small and you make a big deal out of it. You say a lot about a little. Look at connotations. Look at multiple interpretations for higher marks. Again, as much as you can, link it back to the statement in the question. Develop your response with extra quotations and interpretations, but don't just state them, explain them as well. Explore the quotations as clearly as possible. How does it add to the reader's understanding? What might it make a reader think or feel, and why? And then, finally, the link. Link back to the statement of the question. In our example, overall, how does Doyle make Holmes out to be a misunderstood genius? And why would Doyle go through great lengths to make us believe that in the first chapter of the novel? Now, these are some pretty generic sentence starters that you could use to get you going. And that's about it for question 4. And that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, and happy revising.